Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Reading Sprints. This is my series Read Along Sprints. And as per usual, I am going to start by just sharing it first on socials, just to let everyone know that we have gone live. In the meantime, if you are going to be reading with me today, let me know in the chat what you're reading, or if not, let me know what you're doing because I am very curious about what you plan to do during our sprints. So, to anyone who's new here, I do the sprints. I call them my series read along sprints because what I do is I literally just pick a series that is usually either in my shelf or a series that I've been meaning to read for a long time, and I just read them. Very simple concept. I read them part by part, week after week. So, in like usually 9 weeks, because usually it's like trilogies. In 9 weeks, I would have finished the series that I have. Mostly because I have a lot of series books because I enjoy fantasy and usually they come in series. And I tend to procrastinate on reading my series books, especially if they're physical, because I know that they're always there. But I just want to prioritize them, which is what I've been trying to do this year. So this is season 3 of the series read alongs. The first season we did Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then we did what did I do for the second one? Why am I forgetting already? Wait, what did I? The Infernal Devices, and now I'm doing the Poppy War trilogy. Today I'm gonna start reading the Dragon Republic, which is the second book in the Poppy War trilogy. The Poppy War ended in a very intense note, somewhat intense note. So I am curious to see where we're gonna pick up in this book. I don't know if this is going to start directly after the events of the first book or if it's going to have like a time skip or something. I don't know. There's so many questions at the end of the Poppy War. So I'm very excited to dive into this book. So I think I'm done sharing. Did I share it to everyone? Okay. Yes, I'm done sharing. So I can put this phone away. And now we can say hello to everyone. Hi, Nor. Welcome back to the sprints. Are you going to be reading today? Are you going to be oh, you are going to be reading the Dragon Republic. I'm so excited. Wait, is this your first time reading the Poppy War trilogy or are you rereading it? Because I can't quite remember. Let me know. I'm so excited. Like at least I know someone is going through the same thing as I am. Hi, Kat. Welcome to the sprints. Are you going to be reading with us today? Hi, Elena. Good morning. Hi, Eliza. Welcome to the sprints. Kat is on her way home. Definitely be joining you tonight. I'm reading One Night Stand by Cantarin Lilahuta because I need to finish this book. This is the book that you shared last time as well, right? Are you liking the book though? Excited for you to start TDR. Oh, that is interesting. Usually the middle books get all the bad rep. But seems like Kat's favorite is the Dragon Republic. Well, actually, in the Greenbone Saga trilogy, my favorite is the middle book, which is Jade War. So maybe middle books aren't so bad, you know? But if you are new here, we usually do 60-minute reading sprints and then we do 8-minute chatting, updating everyone about our progress. And what I do is I read one part of the book and I read them over 3 weeks. So for this specific reading sprint, I am going to read until page 216, which is roughly one third of the book. There's no parts in the Dragon Republic. The Poppy War had like part one, part two, part three. This one, it's just straight up chapters. So I just divided it into three, and this is what I'll be reading. So I'll keep on sprinting until I get to page 216. So usually that means about 4 60-minute reading sprints. So there's a lot of reading to be done today. I also got Burning God from the library today and finally managed to get my hands on King of Scars. I've been waiting for it for at least a year. That is a long time. The Burning God is the third book. Yes, it is the third book. Well, I'm not gonna think about that. I'll get to that in 3 weeks. But King of Scars, I've read King of Scars. I haven't read Rule of Wolves. I have it on my Kindle. I pre-ordered it on my Kindle, but I still haven't read it. Because King of Scars was such a roller coaster for me. I wasn't sure if I didn't quite enjoy it, or it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So I kind of got put off from continuing. Now I feel like I need to reread it or at least watch some sort of recap before I go into Rule of Wolves. So I'm procrastinating on that. I'm reading the popular series for the first time, so I have no clue what's coming. Well, you and I both. You and I both. My book has parts, but it's a German version. Maybe there's a difference. Oh, maybe. Well, there are no parts here. That's kind of curious. Well, let me know what chapter does part one end for you. Because that might be like a good stopping point as well. I've been enjoying One Night Stand, but I had to pause it for the book tour. Now I really want to finish it. I'm almost 50%. Well, 50%. I think you can smash that. Smash. That's such a weird adjective or verb. I will be reading Mechanize My Hands to Wars by Erin K. Wagner. Mechanize My Hands. I have not heard of this book. Hands. Mechanize My Hands to War. Um, oh, science fiction. Interesting. Nonlinear sci-fi that examines androids as labor force. This reminds me of Detroit Become Human. Every time I like see a synopsis that has like androids or has some sort of humanoids, I just think of Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you know that game, but it's a pretty popular game on, I want to say PS4. I'm not sure. Played it on PC, and I really love that game. It's like a storytelling choose your own adventure kind of game where in a sense all of your decisions, like all of your answers to people's questions and your reactions to the events kind of affect your ending. I think I've replayed it 3 times, so I've discovered 3 endings, but there's so much more. But yeah, I really love that. I think TDR was a book in a trilogy where I thought RF Kong is really that brilliant, isn't she? This was before Babel came out. Well, now I have very high expectations. Just kidding. Chapter 11 is a oh. So for me, that the way I divided it, I'm gonna end until chapter 12. So kind of close-ish. But maybe chapter 11 is like a natural stopping point. So we'll see. How many pages are the book you're holding? So this one in total, it has, trying not to spoil myself. It has 654 pages if I don't include like the glossary of characters and like the about the author, like all of the other stuff. Just the end of the story is at 654. Chapter 25 is the first chapter in part 3. Okay, let's not spoil ourselves. Okay. I'm trying to like not see the pages. Okay. Interesting. It's actually roughly similar to how I have divided it. So maybe I'll follow that part. We'll see. I'll join in the middle of the first sprint. I'll just have dinner and wash up. Enjoy reading. I'll thank you, cat. I'll see you later. OMG. Wait, what? Why? Good luck. Okay. Because of how thick it is. Yes, it is quite thick. But with that said, let's start our first reading sprint because this book is not going to read itself. I'm gonna make myself small and tiny, and we'll start our first reading sprint. 1 hour on the clock. I'll see you. Have a good day, everyone. Hello. How was the first reading sprint? Hold on, let me just get my milk tea out of the way. Technically, not a milk tea, just black tea with ice cream. Um, I made it to page 59 of the Dragon Republic, which let me just update this. Not sure if you noticed, but I changed the number of pages to 172 because as I was flipping, there are parts in the book. There are like three parts, I think. And for some reason I can't find them when I'm just like flipping like this, but they were there. So was it? Yeah, Nora was right that the end of part one is the end of chapter 11. So I have adjusted the, see, part two, I've adjusted the page counter to 172 so that we can still follow the parts of the book. So page 59 is the last page of chapter 4. And so far, it's a lot of just putting the pieces down after the whole thing that happened at the end of the Poppy War. And I think it's about like 3 months later or more, a little bit more than that. And we're following I still don't know how to say it. Is it the kike? Is it the psych? Sike? I don't know what the right pronunciation is. Maybe I need to Google that later. But we're just following them as they're doing some things for this leader, this ruler down in the south. Um, and they're, I don't want to say too much because this is the second book. They do have a big objective that they're trying to work towards, and they needed to do this kind of like side quest in a way. We're learning a little bit more about Rin. We're learning more about the whole, um, what do I say that's not a spoiler? About her powers. I think that's the best way to put it. We're learning a little bit more about her powers and how much control she has or doesn't have with her powers. But yeah, that's just the first 59 pages, just kind of catching up with where's everyone, what is everyone doing, what is the state of the country, of the nation, given the events of the Poppy War. And actually have not read the synopsis, so I have no clue what what's going to happen. I have no idea. But I think that's part of the fun. So I'm not sure. I don't think I'm gonna read the um the synopsis. Eliza, I will sleep and maybe clean. Well, I know you're probably not here anymore, but hope you have a good sleep and a good restful sleep. Hi, Vanessa. Stopping in to say hi and hit the like button. Thank you. Must be early for you. I hope you have a good start to your day. I got to page 54, which is the end of chapter 3 for me. Ooh, we're very, very close. Yes. Ah, yeah, for you because you have the German version, obviously. It really took me a while to get into it again. And remembering who everyone is, and I needed to get used to the writing saga after super simple writing of the Great Prisoner. That is a good point. I think yeah, there is. I'm not sure if you have it in your copy, but in my copy, I have a dramatis personae, which is just a trying not to show the other side because that's the last page. But I have this page where it just has all of the people in the book and like a brief description. So if you have that, might be useful to reference it a bit. But I also, because I just read the Poppy War, it didn't take me like a long time to put myself back into the world, which is probably the best way to read it because I do understand that if you probably like distance yourself, maybe even just a couple months, it would be quite difficult to get back into it. Like the style of writing is a little bit more flourish and there's a lot more introspection and philosophical thinking whenever she writes her books, at least in the Poppy War and in Babel. So I get that it's not super easy to jump back in, but it's so messed up already. I'm so confused how we still get two more chunky books. I know, like I at this point, I know obviously you're reading it. I know that um I know what the current objective of Rin is. But I fail to see how that is going to help them in the long run. That is what I'm like grappling with. Like I'm thinking, okay, she has this objective that she's trying to do because of the things that happened in the end of the Poppy War. But I don't know how that's going to pan out long term. Like after she does that, what now? What is the burning god? What is going to happen? But I suspect we're gonna learn more throughout the book. And obviously, there was a prologue about a certain character. So now I'm curious when that character is gonna come back into play in this book. I don't have a glossary. That would be helpful. I am gonna do you a solid, and I'm gonna take a photo and post it on the Discord, so you can use that as reference. Hold on, let me just take the said photos, and then I'll post it on the Discord. I don't think we have a Poppy War channel. Just post it in the general, and hopefully that helps because I would need it. I just read the Poppy War, and I feel like I still need it, especially with respect to like the people outside of the main group that we're following. I feel like I'm it's not as easy for me to remember. Okay, where do I put this? I guess this is book general. Okay. The Dragon Republic cast of characters. Then I'll tag you. Ooh, okay. Hopefully that helps you. But yeah, that is the Poppy War so far. Oh no, not the Poppy War, Dragon Republic so far. How about you guys? How about your books or whatever it is that you oh I didn't start the timer. I always forget. I think we've chatted for like half the time, so I'll just put 4 minutes. I'm so bad at starting the chat timer. I always forget. There you go. Um I also finished Poppy War end of January, so I thought it would be enough to remember everything else right away. I feel like if you just read the Poppy War and you don't read a bunch of books in between, like you don't read a bunch of like fantasy books, especially in between, it would be easy enough to remember. But if you're reading, like obviously you also read the Plated Prisoner series and you might have read other stuff, things can get mixed up in your head. I was reading this book last week and I was also filming a vlog for it. And as I was updating the vlog, I could not remember the name of the main character. And for a second, I thought, this is my new normal because I'm reading so many books, sometimes like a lot of books at the same time. I tend to forget the names of the characters. But then I Googled it, and apparently the character's name has not been mentioned in that book. That's why I can't like remember at all. But I'm at that point where I'm like just accepting that okay, I forget everything. I try to use Storygraph's reading journal um as much as I could because that's the only way I can really remember. Obviously, I could write like notes and stuff on my book, but that's like less natural to me because I wouldn't write on the book itself. I'd have to get like a post-it, I'd have to get whatever. So it's a lot more time. So I just use a Storygraph reading journal feature, but sometimes I forget. And but that has been helpful for me. So I try to do it. Thanks for the glossary. No problem. I read two plated prisoner books and Piranesi. Yeah, exactly. So it would be difficult sometimes, or sometimes you could get names and peoples and events mixed up, especially if they're plated prisoner and the Poppy War is set on two very different like worlds. But sometimes like the events itself, like you would forget, okay, did this happen in that scene? Earlier I was watching a recap of Iron Flame because I'm getting ready to read Onyx Storm. So I watched a recap and some of the stuff that happened there, I thought they happened in a different fantasy book, and I'm like, oh, so it was in Iron Flame, and that's just I guess how it is if you read quite a bit. Things are just getting mixed up. Hi, Kat. Welcome back. I'm reading on the next sprint finally, starting with 205 over 491. We have probably three more sprints at the rate that I'm going. So you are well good with time. We have lots of time to catch up on reading. I ordered some snacks and some drinks. So I'm probably going to be reading much slower because I'm eating and drinking. I got some black tea with melted ice cream now on top. This used to be black tea, but the ice cream turned it like into this light color. But yeah, I am gonna say though that I don't think Rin is supposed to be a likable character, but I definitely I prefer my heroines to be a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more chill, maybe. She's definitely not. So it's gonna take me a bit to really get behind her and sort of give my full support, if you will. But I don't think that she's meant to be a likable character. But yeah, but that's just something that I've noticed even from the first book. Like I don't agree with most of the choices, but I guess that is the difference in the type of character that she is versus other characters. I also feel like I'm still remembering a lot from Iron Flame, but let's see how Onyx Storm will go because it'll be a while until I get to the book. Maybe I'll need a recap then. Well, lucky for you, there's so many people doing recaps on the Fourth Wing series, so that should be easy to find on BookTube. I had a hard time remembering TPW characters or fantasy series characters in general because I don't read the series consecutively. I know I used to be such a serial series consecutive series reader. Like I would just start with one and then finish everything before I even consider other books. But now that I am exposed to so many different books, so many different things I want to read, I can't. And also with the waiting times sometimes, like waiting times in terms of borrowing from library or borrow or buying the book or the release of books, I just can't help but start other books. And then, that scheduling nightmare happens and I usually have to reread or at least find some sort of recap before I dive into the next book of the series. Agreed, we're not supposed to like and root for Rin. Well, exactly. Same, Rin is so interesting, but definitely not very likable. Yes. And with that, we shall go into our next reading sprint and see if something happens, something changes in this book, because right now we're just getting the lay of the land after the events of the Poppy War. I'll see you again in 60 minutes. Happy reading, everyone. So that was that second reading sprint. I'm just gonna update my tracker and start the timer. I made it to page 120. Things are happening. The question I had earlier already answered, and now we're back into this kind of holding pattern as we sort of figure out what to do next. So it's we're in a bit of a slow part of the story in terms of the overall plot, but I actually do like this part of the story because we get to learn a little bit more about different people and stuff like that. So yeah, and there's a lot more politics, a lot more strategy. Well, not maybe not strategy just yet, just politics for now involved so far. So I think I ended it on chapter 8. I just started chapter 8. How was everyone's reading? Let me just see. Hi, Apu. I don't know if you're still here because you said half an hour, but thank you for dropping by. You are still reading the Phantom of the Opera. How are you liking it? I have always liked the. I haven't watched the play or the musical, I suppose. I'm pretty sure I've watched the movie, but I can't super remember. But I have always loved the music that came out of Phantom of the Opera. So it's I'm curious about the source material. Hi Raven. Yes, long time no see. How are you? Are you reading? Yes, you are reading Spy Family Volume 1. Oh, you're just starting. Are you I think you finished volume one probably because usually those are quite fast to read. Are you continuing on with the next volumes? How far am I in Spy Family? I was reading this like once a month last year, but then when the holds, didn't arrive in time, I kind of stopped. Let me see how far along I am. So oops. That was the wrong link. I made it. I read until Spy Family Volume 11 was the last one that I read. And I rated that quite highly. So I still have one, two, three, four, five. So far, I have five volumes left to read for that one. How are you liking Spy Family? And did you watch the anime for it? I read until page 105, which is the middle of chapter 6. How are you finding it, Nor? You like the reappearance? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do know who you're talking about. Um, I am, well, the title kind of, we kind of have more info now about why it is titled the way it is. And I'm curious about the new dynamic that's going to happen where like old characters are coming back into play, and I'm curious to see like how the time apart will affect their dynamic, their relationships, because obviously they've experienced very different things since the last time that they've been together. So I'm curious to see how that's going to affect everything. Oh, I'm still here. I am going to be watching the musical on the 6th of March. I thought I would read the book first. I am liking it. It's a bit slow, but quite nice. How is the writing style? Because it is a classic, right? Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Phantom of the Opera, Gaston Leroux. Yeah, it is a horror classic. How is the writing style? Ooh, the people I follow on Stargap rated it quite highly. It has a murder mystery and I'm curious. Yes, that is very interesting. Ooh, right. I didn't think about the connection to the title because the title is different in German. Ah, so if you were to translate the German title to English, how would it translate? 'Cause that's quite interesting. I'm now back again to thinking of about Babel and translation. That book is still living rent free in my head. I can never think about translation the same way ever again. I reached 269 of 491, read 64 pages. Whoa, that's a lot. And hooked in the mystery surrounding the story. I'm thinking of making hot coffee or matcha. I think you should make matcha instead of coffee because I don't know how you are about coffee, but for some reason, coffee gives me a much worse, like, what do you call this? Crash? Like I get a much worse crash with coffee than I do with matcha. So I like to drink tea past like 2 or 3 p.m., which is why I just got myself some black tea. And I'm not sure if you saw, but I also got, I'm just gonna grab it. I got some corner. It's a popular French fry like company, French fry kiosk in the Philippines. And I just got sour cream and barbecue flavored potato fries. I love them as like they're such a guilty pleasure snack for me. That with black milk tea or black tea with ice cream, love it. It's really easy to read and the prose is pretty. Oh, okay. Not difficult though. That's nice to hear. I have a couple of classics that I do want to read. My classic shelves is right behind me, kind of covered. But I do have a couple of books there that I want to read. I want to read Pride and Prejudice because I feel like I need to read it. I haven't read any Austen too, so let me actually grab it. I have Pride and Prejudice, so that's a book that I want to read. I also have um The Count of Monte Cristo. These are like my dreams to read this book. And then I oops, also have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have some more in here, but these are the ones that I really wanna read pretty soon. And by soon, I mean within the next 5 years. Just kidding. I do want to prioritize some of them. I want to prioritize Pride and Prejudice and Frankenstein this year. That feels doable. Every book is called In the Sign of the Poppy. Ah, and then the first book is The Shaman. Second book is The Empress. The third book is The Savior. Oh, that's interesting. In the Sign of the Poppy. I'm trying to think of why it would be called that, but I can kind of see it. Obviously, the shaman, the empress, the savior, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I'm assuming with the savior. But that's interesting. Now I'm craving some potato corner. But yep, gotta make matcha. Be right back. You are welcome. It's very hard to first. I was tempted to the flavor. Sounds so yummy. It's such a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie, I've had it almost every day this week. But this week is like my cravings week before that time of the month for me next week. So this always happens to me. And French fries are just like the perfect snack. And I always eat my French fries with chopsticks so I don't get my fingers dirty for when I'm turning my book. So like I also use this for chips. Always use chopsticks so I don't get my fingers dirty. I like your edition of Pride and Prejudice. It looks so pretty. I know it's simple, but it's kind of dainty. I feel like it reflects that time period well. This is the Penguin English Library edition. So this is one of the few editions that I like the outside, and I also like the font inside. I'm quite particular about fonts because I'm a designer, so it grates me when I don't like the font inside. But this one I really love. So I love that. I really like Frankenstein. I know a lot of people really love it, and everyone says that it's such a good intro classic to read because it's not that intimidating. So I think I want to do that for October this year. I want to prioritize reading Frankenstein. Now, I know our timer has gone off, so I am starting to prepare for next sprint. I'm just going to get through the rest of the chat so that we can start with a clean slate for next sprint. I want to read Pride and Prejudice too. If you want to read a shorter Austen, which also has a beautiful love story, I would recommend Persuasion. It has some heart-fluttering dialogues from the mid. Okay, I am gonna keep that in mind, and I'm gonna find Persuasion. For some reason, I feel like I want to read classics physically. I don't know why. The social life factor is chopsticks for snacks or reading. It is. I know, mind blown. I love it. I don't know if it's the Asian me. I mean, I'm not from East Asia, so I don't even really use chopsticks day to day. But we have a lot of like Japanese food, Korean food, Chinese food in the Philippines, and that's why we kind of always use chopsticks as well. And I'm just like, why don't I use chopsticks? At first, I used it for Cheetos because Cheetos has those really intense powder that's so hard to get off your fingers. So I just use chopsticks, and my life has been changed since then. With that said, let's start the third reading sprint. So this is, as usual, going to be for 60 minutes. So I will see you in an hour. Happy reading, everyone. Hope you get yourself some snacks or something. Hello. How was the third reading sprint? I'm gonna start the timer, of course. I actually finished the first part of the Dragon Republic, and I were this first part. We I think is a lot of it is just us learning more about Rin as a person and learning more about how she sees the world and how she sees herself. And it kind of mirrors a lot of the, I guess, the thoughts and feelings of a, in a way, like a regular person in society, which is an interesting thing for me. I have enjoyed all this. Things are starting to pick up. I feel like with this book so far, we've been doing like waves of like that. We have like big moments where, oh my gosh, there's a reveal. And then we go through a lull of like planning and resting and, you know, like internalizing. And then something big happens again. And now we're back to like, okay, this, we have to retreat. We have to figure things out. So it's kind of like this roller coaster. And keeps you engaged, to be fair. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I finished it. So I think that unfortunately means that that was the last reading sprint, which is fine by me because I feel tired for some reason. I don't know if it's the fries like hitting. Like, is this the slump after eating fries? I don't know if it's that, but I am feeling quite tired. I had a look at part two, and part two is chunky. It is 270 pages. I was debating when I computed how many pages part two was going to be. I was debating, should I just start to read part two? Should I just go into it so I don't have to read such a long, like a lot of pages in the next reading sprint? But I'm like, but it's divided into three parts. Like the end of part one was such a good stopping point, and it had a lot of, like, it felt like a change in Rin. You feel the change in Rin. So I don't want to just start part two and then not finish it. So I didn't do that. I stopped at the end of part one. How about you guys? How was your reading sprint? Did you manage to read what you planned to read today or do what you plan to do today? Hi, hello, Mia. Unfortunately, that was our last reading sprint. But how are you? It's been a while since I've seen you in sprints. Konti na lang tapos may the Drug Republic. Actually, no, because I still have, let's see, how many pages did I say this was? 654, was it? Yeah, 654. I have 482 pages left. So I am, yeah, 480 pages are less than a third of the book, because I did read only 172. But next week, I would be 270 pages plus 172 pages in. So that's pretty good. So you can expect next week's reading sprints to be much longer. I've already set up the stream, and already put that up to YouTube. So it's also going to be same time as today. So I hope I'll see you guys next week with the Dragon Republic. I read until page 165, which is the end of chapter 8 for me. Ooh, you are ending in like a pretty spicy chapter, I feel like. Not spicy in a like in a smut kind of way, but spicy that things are starting to happen kind of way. Had to clarify because spice is a proper booktube term. um, let's see. Yeah. Yep. I also really like it so far. I'm glad. I'm glad that we are both enjoying our time. I think I'm going to finish part one today too. That's 54 pages. Oh, that's such a bummer for you because German just makes everything so long. But I feel like you're gonna blaze through. Knowing now what's gonna happen in those next 50 pages, I feel like you're gonna blaze through the book. And by the next week, when I read part two, you're probably done with part two as well. So you'll be ahead of me then. That's actually the toughest part about this series read along sprints, like holding off for an entire week before reading the next part of the book. That has been difficult sometimes, especially with the infernal devices. I wanted to binge that book so hard, but I do know that if I binge books, I tend to burn out. So it's always nice that I'm pacing myself. And it kind of allows me to read other books as well, which is nice. But I am craving. But this one is actually, because it's divided into parts, it was at such a natural stopping point that, okay, I feel like I closed one section. I'm happy with that. I can wait for the next one. When I was reading the Infernal Devices, I was literally stopping in the middle of the book, and it was just difficult because I knew that I ended on like an ambiguous part of the book. But I like that these has parts. Reach 335 over 491, read 66 pages. Woohoo! You're reading so fast. A big reveal just happened, which I didn't see coming. Was it a good one? I was thinking if I should read more tonight, but this being the last one is my sign to call it a night too. Yeah, it's pretty late for us here in the Philippines. It's 11:40 in the evening, and it's a work day. So, I have work tomorrow at 7 in the morning. So I should definitely call it a night as well. But that's good that everyone was able to read so much. I'm so happy. Thank you for everyone for joining me today. And I hope I'll see you next week on Tuesday. Well, Tuesday for us in the Philippines, same time. We'll be reading second part of the Dragon Republic. In the meantime, I will see you on BookTube, see you around Instagram. Thank you so much again for hanging out with us. I can imagine it being so hard to wait and remember everything 1 week later. I know that was the hardest part. But I think my brain got used to it after a while. And I do try to, before I start, I sort of reread like the last few pages of the previous chapter, just because I need to like jog my mind about what was going on. Thank you for hosting the sprints. I'm glad. I'm glad that everyone has been enjoying the sprints. And yeah, this is rare for me, but I am gonna share a link to our Discord. We had this conversation last Sunday with when I had sprints with Pam from Pam Shenanigans. And we're kind of wanting to sort of revive our Discord and try and make it a little bit more of a space for everyone to enjoy. So I'm just gonna post a link to the Discord, and it's up to you if you want to join or not. No pressure at all, but I share that as well. So let me just go into the chat and post a link to that, and then we'll call it a night. Discord. There you go. Thank everyone for hanging out with me today. I will see you in the next video, or not video, I guess next video and next sprint. I am editing a video. So yeah, bye bye everyone. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Oh,